Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna be learning about another iconic rally driver. In one of the last videos we learned about Tommi Mäkinen, and today we're gonna be learning about Tommi Mäkinen. So buckle up your seatbelt. Do they have seatbelts in rally cars? Yes. Buckle up your harnesses and let's find out what made this guy one of the greatest. Let's go.
This is Tommi Mäkinen.
Yes, sir.
Rally in the late 90s and early 2000s was insane. It was a
Sorry, I know it's early in the video. I have to pause it, I have to rewind, because that view that I just saw, I thought it was gonna run into the crowd and destroy everybody. But my man is a professional. Look at that.
The late 90s and early 2000s was insane. It was a golden era for the sport. You had McRae, you had Sainz, you had Ariel, Kankinen, Ericsson and Burns, just to name a few. It was the greatest lineup of talent the sport has ever seen. But buried within it all was one driver who to this day holds a record nobody else can claim. If you were a fan of rally in this time period, you might have fallen into one of two camps. Team Subaru and their gun-ho driver Colin McRae, or Team Mitsubishi and their Finnish maestro, Tommi Mäkinen. The era was defined by Subaru dominance on the rally stages. The Impreza WRX led Subaru to 3 back-to-back Constructors' Championships in 95, 96 and 97, but they would only win a single Drivers' Championship in the 90s. Why was that? Because of good old T-Mac, of course.
It's obviously a very important technical term, but our viewers from Britain would really like to know, what does percola mean?
I don't know what that means.
This is the story of the man who made the Mitsubishi Evo a legend, dominated the greatest era of rally, and changed the face of the sport forever. 1995 was a pivotal moment for the World Rally Championship. Subaru had the best lineup on the grid. Scotland's Colin McRae would battle it out with two-time former champion Carlos Sainz. But as these two rivals battled for the title, another driver was making a name for himself.
I'm so glad that I watched the video of Colin McRae first, because now it's put everything into context. If you haven't seen that video, I'm gonna put a link up here. Go watch it, okay? It's crazy.
Behind the wheel of a Mitsubishi Evo, a talented Finnish driver was making progress. His style, a stark contrast to that of McRae's, would inspire the latest generation of champions. When his rivals were scandi flicking their cars around the course, Mäkinen's approach would focus on cleaner lines and a more front-forward style. It was the start of a dominance that would be unmatched for decades, and it would begin in 1996. Subaru's Colin McRae was the favourite to retain his title, his driving style drawing attention, whether it ended in victory or a crash. But the field was stacked with talent everywhere.
He said that was gonna be the only two outcomes: either it wins or it crashes. Sounds a bit like Max Verstappen right now. Yeah, because they don't like to come in. Anyway, you know what? Never mind. Let's not talk about that. It's a sore topic.
Where you looked, and would end up as a unique entry in rally history. 9 events covering every continent on Earth to see who would claim the title of World Rally Champion. First blood was drawn by Mäkinen. Rally Sweden is a tricky course, known for its snowy and icy conditions. Nothing new for a Finn. Mäkinen would use this experience to edge both Sainz and McRae, the latter suffering from an unreliable Subaru. But Sainz pushed Mäkinen until the end, setting a trend for the season. Rally Sweden showcased Mäkinen's intelligence and clean style in the harshest conditions. The Safari Rally in Kenya would see a full 180 for the drivers. Gone was the ice and snow, replaced by dry sand and hot temperatures. A surprising rainstorm adding extra mud and drama to the course. Mäkinen would again showcase why his new style was supreme. Pushed to the very end by McRae's teammate Kenneth Ericsson, Mäkinen would open a commanding lead. Despite retiring in the very next race in Indonesia thanks to a slight incident with a bridge, and losing out to McRae at the famous Acropolis Rally in Greece, Mäkinen was still in command.
He said that so casually, like an incident with a bridge. What happened? I want to know what happened with the bridge, yo. Did they fly over a bridge or did they collide into the bridge? I don't know. Come on, bro.
It was here that the difference between Mäkinen and others like McRae was so obvious. Struggling with tyre wear and damage in the later stages in Greece, Mäkinen had a choice. Push on harder for the win, but risk blowing it all by blowing his tyres. Or dial it back and claim second place and the points that came with it. Mäkinen would choose the slow and safe route, scoring vital points. This would be followed by wins in Argentina and his home race race in Finland, putting Mäkinen firmly ahead with 95 points. It was a long way back to second place Sainz, and the writing was on the wall. All it needed was a Mäkinen win in Australia and for Sainz to finish outside the top 2, and the championship was sealed. It was the
just take him out before the race starts. Just get a sledgehammer or something. Just whack on the engine a few times, you know.
near realization of a childhood dream. Born and raised just a stone's throw from the Thousand Lakes Rally, Mäkinen would have one of the greatest rally stages in his backyard. And like many Finnish greats, his farming background would also lend a hand to his success, even becoming Finnish ploughing champion 2 years in a row. So
how the hell does ploughing give you a Formula One experience? I mean, not Formula One, Jesus Christ, Formula One in the brain. A rally experience. I failed to see the connection.
Success was something Mäkinen knew well, but it wasn't always easy. Tommi first stepped aboard a rally car, a Ford Escort RS 2000, to contest the Nokia Rally in 1985. After just 2 seasons, he would find himself inside one of the greatest cars to ever exist, the Lancia Delta. But it would be here, in the seat of one of the great machines, that Mäkinen would have his first major brush with disaster. Turning his Lancia into the world's first Delta Verticale, the car would be stuck here before slamming down onto its wheels. As with many cars in the world though, everything was fixable, at least on the surface. And thanks to this big sponsored vehicle score, you can avoid laying the groundwork for his move to Mitsubishi. Behind the wheel of the Galant and with a veteran teammate, things were looking up, but he couldn't catch a break and nearly fell out of rally altogether. Thankfully, Ford would hand him a lifeline, and it was an opportunity Mäkinen would take with both hands, winning in the Ford and signing with Mitsubishi in 1995, a year that would be dominated by McRae, but in which Mäkinen could get a feel for his new car and gain confidence he needed to become a champion again. Except this time, it would be in the WRC.
Jeez,
Australia was the decider for Mäkinen in the 1996
light.
season, but it wasn't about to make life easy for any of the drivers. A deep water trap causing problems for every driver on the course, except Mäkinen. Yet again, his intelligent approach saving his car from damage. That wasn't the case for McRae or Sainz, the latter nearly ending his title challenge right there. But after that stage was scrapped, Sainz was handed a lifeline. He would come within 4 seconds of denying Mäkinen a party in Australia, but it wasn't meant to be for the Spaniard. Mäkinen would claim his first world title and start a period of dominance never before seen in the world of rally. 1997 setting the stage for an exciting several years for fans. 3 drivers had their hats in the ring, all of them champions. It was a rocky start for Mäkinen. A pair of second-place finishes and a retirement due to tyre punctures put him on the back foot, but mechanical issues for the Subaru team gave Mitsubishi and Mäkinen hope, and they took advantage in Portugal and Spain. McRae was leading once again, but Carter was in Spain opened the door for Mäkinen to record his first win on an all-tarmac course. The next stage at Corsica would prove to be a dangerous location for Mäkinen, coming face-to-face with a stacked cow and totaling his Mitsubishi.
A cow?
For Mäkinen on an all-tarmac course. The next stage at Corsica would prove to be a dangerous location for Mäkinen, coming face-to-face with a stacked cow and totaling his Mitsubishi. Thankfully, that would be the last of the major drama for Mäkinen. Sainz, however, would dropkick a sheep with his Escort later in the year, but with a helping hand from teammate Richard Burns, he would edge out the title by a single point.
Who's letting all these animals on the track? Jeez.
Just dropping to 4th to allow Mäkinen to claim 3rd, despite a late surge from McRae, who won the last 3 races, and multiple retirements from Mäkinen, he would win by a single point. 1998 would see a change of competitor for Mäkinen, Carlos Sainz this time running the Finn to the very end. The year started off poorly for Mäkinen, retiring 4 times in the first 6 races, put his retention of the championship in doubt, but 4 wins in the next 6 saw Mäkinen return to the running, and with Sainz
I think one thing I've learned from rally is that it doesn't really matter how you do. Somebody else may just make a mistake that will get rid of them, or because the track or the tracks are so brutal that you don't know who's actually going to finish. So you just have to keep going with the hope that something happens to somebody else and nothing happens to you.
Struggling in the mid-portion of the season, Mäkinen was left to win yet another close season, the first driver in the sport's history to win 3 back-to-back championships. And he wasn't done there. 1999 would follow a similar pattern. This time it would be another Subaru, giving Mäkinen a run for his money. But it wasn't a McRae Subaru. Instead, British driver Richard Burns would take the Finn to the final races of the season. Mäkinen's win would make it 4 titles back-to-back, made more impressive by how close every season was.
Wow.
The field of competition being one of the toughest in the sport's history, showcased not only the Mitsubishi Evo platform, but also how a calmer, more measured approach could win titles. But the glory days were behind him, and despite a close title race in 2001, Mäkinen wouldn't contend for another title. And 2001 also saw a near fatal accident for the Finn. Corsica again was the course, a dangerous race well known for its unforgiving roads. Mäkinen would clip a curve and launch his Mitsubishi into a cliff face.
Oh, he whacked it onto the curb there. Oh my god,
it was a horrific
crash.
Left resting on the edge of a cliff and upside down. Mäkinen, by some miracle, was out of the Evo, but his co-driver wasn't so lucky. The race was eventually stopped with a Land Rover used to secure the perilous car. Madisen Mäki, Mäkinen's co-driver, was finally airlifted out to safety. He had broken his back in the crash, making it even more miraculous that Mäkinen survived unscathed. This wasn't the end for Mäkinen's success, however. Despite retiring in 2003, Mäkinen had unfinished business with the world of rally. 2016 would see Mäkinen land the job of team principal for Toyota Gazoo Racing. Under Mäkinen's guiding hand, the team had flourished, winning Manufacturers' Championships 4 times and the Drivers' Championship 5 times. This success puts Mäkinen into a league of his own. The only person ever in rally history to win the WRC Championship as both a driver and team principal. His 4 back-to-back world titles was a first for the sport. His driving style, a stark contrast to those that came before him, beginning a new era of dominance and forever changing the world of rally. To many, Tommi Mäkinen is the greatest rally driver of all time. Sure, his records have been beaten for the most part, but it was how and when he set them that really places him in a special group of drivers. Just like Colin McRae, who we've covered here, Mäkinen changed the face of the sport and entertained millions of viewers in the process.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Definitely had more trophies than Colin McRae. But it was not as flamboyant as Colin McRae. I think if I was gonna choose one as my favorite, I would say Colin McRae, because it was crazy. It was a maniac. It was fighting and polishing that car at every chance and opportunity that he got. My goodness gracious. Nah, that was lovely. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this one. See you in the next one. Take it easy. Goodbye. Peace.